Coming up in the news, after 2 years of an online platform, it is back to the classrooms for students and teachers. Also, BTVI officials bearing good news during a courtesy call to the Minister for Grand Bahama. And residents on Grand Bahama to have access to the government's free COVID-19 testing soon. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shashina Roll-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, students across the Bahamas will return to school campuses for in-person learning on Monday. In preparation for the return, Superintendent of Education along with union leaders toured the various schools on Grand Bahama today to ensure that the classrooms are ready for opening. Here's
to return. We support the government on the fact that school should open and we should be back in school.
That coming from union representatives on Grand Bahama who say the time has come to head back to the classrooms. Led by District Superintendent for the Northern Bahamas, Ivan Butler, union officials were taking on a tour of the schools on Grand Bahama to assess whether or not the schools were in good physical condition for the students to return safely.
With the exception of some minor repairs, we do believe that we are ready to accept our students. The teachers are eager. We just visited one of our primary schools, and the consensus from the teachers are they are willing and able and can't wait to accept their students come Monday.
And with such short notice, Butler is encouraging parents to not let anything deter them from sending their kids back to school come Monday. He says the only exception should be if they are exhibiting symptoms.
We don't want parents to keep their children home for any reason, uniform, books, no reason. We want our students to come to school to begin the process. We want to start our educational process of, getting our students ready for national exams, getting our students ready just to be back in a face-to-face mode with their teachers.
He says all safety protocols will be in effect as no more than 20 students will be in a class 3 feet apart. But here's what the union reps had to say.
Administrators are excited. The district is excited. We have been in school last year, which the country probably will not be aware of, but we were able to function with the right protocols in place. And so we're excited to open in Grand Bahama. The children are waiting, teachers are excited, and administration say, let's go, let's get started.
For the return on Monday, when we got the information, teachers are ready to go back to school. We know it may be a little short notice, but in working with the Ministry of Education and with BEMU, we recognize that the classes are ready. Everything that's supposed to be placed in order seemed to be in order. In checking with my shop stewards from Nassau,
we found that all the classrooms are equipped with the necessary tools for the COVID protocols with sanitizers and the social distancing. We've seen that the quarters where they are housed, we've seen the quarters for the custodial staff, everything is in place in their areas as well.
Major believes that this has been long overdue.
We cannot base everything on just one island. Every island has its own unique problems. So if the island of Grand Bahama can open and be face-to-face, why not?
As Gibson shares the only challenge that she foresees thus far.
We do have some challenges with the shortages of custodial staff at a few of our institutions, and I believe that the minister is working very hard to get those persons in place, and I do ensure that they will be in place by Monday.
The social distancing?
Social distancing, that's a challenge because children are excited to see each other. And so as much as you can say, step away, keep within 6 feet, when you turn your back, they'll go back in hugs. But I think everything is done in decency.
Meantime, executives of the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute here on Grand Bahama making a stop at the office of the Minister for Grand Bahama. The executive is giving an update on operations at the institution. The Minister for Grand Bahama hearing firsthand the major plans that the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute is preparing for in 2022.
BTVI has played a key role really with us in the industrial center of our island and helping to train some of our professionals when it comes to technology and vocational studies. And so we look to really partner with BTVI in moving forward to get a lot more programs going And many of them, of course, include maritime programs. They also include solar energy programs. They include what we consider the built environment. And we're looking at models like those in Nova Scotia that we're going to discuss further.
President Robert Robinson says currently 6,000 students attend the school nationally, and by end term that number will climb to 7,000. He says a lot of the interest is also coming from Grand Bahama, where 500 students are enrolled, and that number is expected to double by summer's end. He adds that the school also spoke to additional programs that will be added, including allied health.
Sustainability are very important, solar, for example. We're also, though, working with a school in the United States on an allied health program, which I know is also very important here. We will have visitors, boots on the ground here within 2 weeks from this school in New England. It's called New England Institute of Technology. Most schools from the U.S. who come here obviously just go to Nassau, which we are going to ensure does not happen anymore. They have to come to Freeport. I've already told them as of yesterday that a part of their schedule they are coming here for a visit, because we really think there's a market here for allied health in particular. And that market also will go back to other islands in the Bahamas.
And that date is set for February 8th. He notes that big construction opportunities are also coming on stream throughout the Bahamas, as a request has been made for 500 certified Bahamians by June 2022.
Now that's a tight window, but with the schedule that we have and the NCCER program that we have called the National Center for Construction Education and Research, we anticipate that we can meet the demands of the industry by June 2022. And I want to reiterate that because it's a very important date. That's for construction of major facilities, residential.
And he says Grand Bahama will figure in prominently.
But some will come from here. So tomorrow morning, we're meeting with the school superintendent in Grand Bahama. We're going to start a second cohort of NCCER students here, and hopefully stream them into some of these construction opportunities by the summer of this year. That's a significant opportunity. Various companies are doing this, by the way, not just that one. And so we think and it's important that these people be certified. These companies that are coming in want certified construction specialists.
The president boasts that the school will also be working with high school students.
The way forward to do that with high school students in grade 12, for example, but also those who have recently left the workforce, and that's one area where I will be talking to the PS about getting his assistance to find those people on this island who need that training for those jobs. We're also working with labor on precisely the same point in Eleuthera and Exuma. So it will be spread around. It's not just coming to Grand Bahama, but it certainly will have a big impact here, I can guarantee you. And so we think we're ready for that. Ms. Colley and her team in Freeport are excited about it.
Residents on Grand Bahama to have access to the government's free COVID-19 testing soon. During the weekly press briefing at the office of the Prime Minister in the nation's capital today, Press Officer Jillian Gray gave an update on the testing program, which will be rolled out on Grand Bahama in the coming days.
Since starting our free testing pilot program in New Providence on January 8th, 7,565 people have been tested, and 567 of those presented positive. And as you know, those sites are at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium, Malia, and South Beach Clinic. We will then roll out free testing in Grand Bahama, as promised, of course, this weekend. And residents can begin registering as early as tomorrow on covidtest.gov.bs. The free testing begins this Saturday at Christ the King Hall. We would like to thank our partners in Grand Bahama who have helped to make this initiative a reality.
7 additional COVID deaths taking place in the country. Based on the latest dashboard, the 7 deaths include a 76-year-old Grand Bahama man who died on January 8th and a 37-year-old Bimini man who also died on January 8th. The death toll is now at 726, with another 37 deaths under investigation. Now, there are 144 new cases. 113 have been confirmed on New Providence, 14 on Grand Bahama, 8 on Exuma, 2 on Inagua, with 1 each on Abaco and Long Island, with the location of another pending. Hospitalizations have climbed to 157. 32 are on Grand Bahama, including 4 in the intensive care unit. Switching gears now, local government elections slated to take place here on Grand Bahama and throughout the Family Islands next week. During the Office of the Prime Minister's press briefing today, the Parliamentary Commissioner outlined plans for the voting process. Sabrina Brown has more.
Parliamentary Commissioner Lavardo Duncanson says interest in the upcoming local government elections is high, as the number of candidates this time around exceeds numbers in previous years.
Following nomination day, we would have had some 600 plus candidates who presented themselves for nomination, 617. The register for the Family Island for the local government elections comprises of some 29,000 plus individuals. For the Family Islands and Grand Bahama, some 30,000 plus individuals, which gives us a total of around 60,000 individuals who are scheduled, who are eligible to participate in the upcoming local government elections. We want to remind the Bahamian population that local government elections are scheduled to take place on the islands of Grand Bahama and the Family Island. There's no local government elections on the island of New Providence.
Duncanson also reminding the public of some important rules as residents in Grand Bahama and the Family Islands prepare to go to the polls next week.
We just want the general population to know that notices have gone out, reminders that persons are entitled to that 1 hour plus the extra hour for voting on election day, which is next week. We want to remind the general population that should you not have your voter's card in hand when you present yourself to cast your vote on next week, Thursday, that a government-issued identification such as a passport, driver's license, the NIB smart card that has your image on it, can be used to identify yourself when you enter the polling place.
As the country battles the fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in the face of the most contagious variant, the Parliamentary Commissioner assures voters that health and safety will be priority.
We at the Parliamentary Registration Department continue with our efforts to consult with the healthcare professionals, and the healthcare professionals provided us with guidelines to adhere to during the upcoming local government elections, which includes election poll workers were, and will continue to be encouraged to be vaccinated, or at least commence with the vaccination process. All poll workers, that includes the election agents, are required to wear face masks. That includes persons presenting themselves to vote on local government election day. It is mandatory that persons wear a face mask. Our poll workers were provided with medical-grade face masks in addition to face shields. The healthcare professionals have stressed that our poll workers wear both the face shields and the medical-grade face masks that were made available by the Parliamentary Registration Department.
Sanitizing stations will also be in place, and campaigners will not be allowed within 100 yards of polling centers. Local government elections will be held on Thursday, January 27th, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.